are now listening to Mr. Z Blackneffect.
Fair use, fair use. Fair use, fair use. So Mr. Z just realized as I was pressing the start button that I set the time for 11:05 p.m. and not a.m. Eastern time. Of course I did, right? So my apologies, everyone, whoever's going to have to catch this on the replay because they thought they had a whole 12 hours. Anyway, so Mr. Z is uncharacteristically early today because Mr. Z got the time wrong. And there you go. Right? And there you go. Right? So we're going to keep with the theme with this current chapter we're on with the ladies holding the line. Y'all might get a part 2 to this. And what it cost, right? So the title is Holding the Feminist Line Seems Lonely and Expensive. Because it's lonely and expensive. Huh? And it's hurting single women far more than people in this society in America would like to admit. It's hurting them. Because the ladies are trying to jab at the men. The entire society is speaking about the loneliness epidemic concerning men in specific. Meanwhile, silently, the women are suffering as this entire society jabs at the men. And what does that remind you of, Z? Exactly. So we're going to play a couple of clips that speak to this. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Right. Shout out to the replay gang. Thank you button and hype button, please, and thank you. Right. So we got that underway today. And we're going to play a few things that speak to that. Right. Now, once again, the title is Holding the Feminist Line Seems Lonely and Expensive. And let's get underway. Once again, fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use.
Because getting a man is not hard. Can we? Truly. Okay, no matter what happens with my relationship status, getting a man is not an accomplishment in 2023. And it also pisses me off. And this is why, like, Brittany is really fucking setting the free 30-something women the fuck back, okay? You're embarrassing us. Okay? And this is why I will always respect Amber Rose. Because to this day, Amber Rose is like, I'll take your fucking shit. I don't give a fuck. I do what I want to do. Sometimes it's a little cringy, but I'm going to stand on my shit. I'm going to own it. I love this. Whatever. She never switched up. Brittany's doing exactly. She's doing exactly what the manosphere niggas talk about. Okay? Which is, you have a bad experience with a wealthy, high-profile person. You have a baby. You get dragged through the mud. And then you realize you're in your early 30s. This is their narrative. Their narrative is then you have a baby, you get dragged through the mud, and then you realize, oh, the clock is ticking. And so now you have to completely rebrand into a loud and proud pick me and scold other women about what they're not doing to get them in. That is exactly what they say. Why would stop embarrassing us. Stop embarrassing us. As a single 33-year-old woman, stop it. Okay? I hope she at least, gets man she desires. I hope she gets some, good, faithful dick to swoop in or whatever, pay her car note or whatever.
Now, appreciate why Mr. Z says exactly what he says. Shout out to the channel. I think he changed the channel name, the gender score, right? Appreciate this. The women are keeping score. When I say holding the line, holding the feminist line, hold the line, ladies. When I say suffer in silence, appreciate Mr. Z knew that this is what the ladies were on before Kim Foster spoke like this. By the way, that clip is from 2023. Mr. Z knew that's what the women were on before. Appreciate that whether it's your man on the street, well, man on the street is a bit different. We're going to let that one go. When it comes to the pundits, when it comes to the interviewers, when it comes to the talking heads and the tastemakers, no one wants to admit that this is why the women are speaking like, well, this.
Would you live on a planet with all women?
With all women?
Yeah.
Ooh. You wouldn't? That's my dream. Think about how...
I mean,
Think of the structure.
can men come in once a month?
Nah, it's just
A
all
planet
women.
with
We
all
don't get
women?
like we don't get
I
like
mean,
travel pass.
Nah.
Okay. I mean, I really would.
Okay.
I really would. It would be nice.
So like never, like not a single man.
Not a single man.
It would be nice. We would have great shopping, great homes, healthcare,
And
like all the things.
And we'd be bored.
but happy. It's fine.
So you taking it?
I'm taking
take it.
I'm
I
going.
take it.
I'm going.
Okay. Okay. Saw you guys on the fence. Saw you guys
No,
on the fence.
I'm
Yeah.
going. I'm
I
going.
had to convince myself. I
I'm
think,
going.
a little bit.
I'm
Okay.
going.
Yeah. Notice both of them said something contrary to the feminist ideal. The lighter skinned young lady spoke about being bored, but the darker skinned woman said, but happy. The darker skinned woman, you could tell she was thinking about that itch being scratched initially. Wait, can the men come at least once a month? Like twice a month? No, just women all the time? Now, forget the logistics, forget the maintaining the physical infrastructure of society, huh? We'll have homes, we'll be able to shop. Nobody talk about who's going to put the stuff on the shelf, who's going to drive the 18-wheelers across the country, who's going to be shipping things in and out. No one speaks about any of that. So it's a given that the entire infrastructure of society globally will just work exactly how it's working now. Okay, fine, ladies, we'll go with it. This is what it looks like when you hold the line. They were both encouraging each other to hold the line. To the title once again, holding the feminist line seems lonely and expensive. Miss Foster was chastising Brittany Renner for not holding the line. And who did she bring up? Amber Rose. And she told you specifically why she brought up Amber Rose. She brought up Amber Rose because she loves the fact that Amber Rose has the middle finger up to men in general. But Amber Rose is being subsidized, or at least she was. She still is. By Wiz Khalifa and that child support. By whatever little gigs she got going on. The average woman cannot afford it. Notice also, Miss Foster, Kim Foster, mocks and makes fun of Brittany Renner by saying hopefully she'll get some faithful peen, that'll pay for a car note or whatever. Huh? This is how women check other women and demand that they hold the line. Miss Foster told Brittany Renner, and Miss Foster told her subscribers and followers what she expects and what the feminists expect women to say, how they expect them to think and feel. And even if you feel lonely, hold the line. Even if you are horny, hold the line. If you're sexually frustrated, it doesn't matter. Hold the line. Even if you are a heterosexual woman and you want intimacy from a man and you're single and lonely, it doesn't matter. Hold the line. Huh? You have women telling you what it's costing them. They're telling you, hey, in the beginning, the single thing was fun. And then it got real lonely.
Because personally speaking, I've also been single for a long time. And in the beginning, it was like, oh, this is so much fun. You're at peace and I love it and I can do whatever I want. I only have to focus on myself and blah, 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 blah. That shit's old real quick.
Shout out to Destro. Huh? She says it gets old real quick. She told you how she thought in the beginning and how it got old real quick. Yes, because you're supposed to hold the line. Huh? Ah, we're keeping with this theme. Hold the line, ladies, no matter what it costs you. Play the clip again, Z, for the people.
Because getting a man is not hard. Can we? Truly. Okay, no matter what happens with my relationship status, getting a man is not an accomplishment. In 2023, and it also pisses me.
Getting a man is not hard. Getting a man is not an accomplishment in 2023. If you want to know why you have single Black women who are struggling financially, their body count is astronomical, and they don't have much to show for it, it's because this ideology has so permeated the American female psyche, particularly in the Black community, because Black women are the most assed out to the market people in America. This ideology that's pushed by the Kim Fosters of the world. These are Black women in specific, some white women who are doing well financially, they're highly educated, indoctrinated, and they can at least financially afford to go it alone. These are the women that oftentimes get married, have children within wedlock, etc., etc. And they push this ideology, this luxury belief, to the masses of women, working class, working poor, lower middle class women, including Black women, who can least afford this financially, but not just financially, energetically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. And then you watch these women crack under the pressure of going it alone to save face and to hold the feminist line. Hold the line, ladies. Hold the line, ladies. Huh? You watch as women crack and break under that pressure.
Whatever reason, I'm just not allowed to experience love from another person. And yes, although, I don't have that, there are other areas of my life that are flourishing, like my YouTube channel and friendships, and it's giving me opportunity to pour into those friendships and pour into myself, which I think are equally as important. But I think people tend to forget that platonic love doesn't replace romantic love. And so as much as I am fulfilled by, my friendships and, relationships with my family and things like that, it still doesn't replace that desire that I have deep down for something more. And it's hard. It's a hard thing to suppress. It's a hard thing to put on the back burner. And
she said suppress.
Not knowing how long I'm gonna be in this season scares me a little bit. And it also scares me to know that it may not ever happen. That it may not ever happen. And so it's just like, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm making much sense in this video.
As I've said multiple times, playing that clip from Life with Bree, she is not speaking to you, Black men. She's not speaking to men in general, Black men specifically. Even if she came on the internet and denied what Mr. Z is saying, she is speaking to women like Miss Foster, who are demanding that she holds the line. And definitely don't start reconsidering the things you've been taught and conditioned and indoctrinated in believing concerning men, concerning Black men. Hold the line.
Because getting a man is not hard. Can we? Truly. Okay, no matter what happens with my relationship status, getting a man is not an accomplishment in 2023. And it also pisses me off. And this is why, like, Brittany is really, really fucking setting the free 30-something women the fuck back, okay? You're embarrassing us. You're embarrassing us, okay? And this is why I will always respect Amber Rose. Because to this day, Amber Rose is like, I'll take your fucking shit. I don't give a fuck. I do what I want to do. Sometimes
Negative liberty.
But I'm going to stand on my shit. I'm going to own it. I love this. Whatever. She never switched up. Brittany's doing exactly. She's doing exactly what the manosphere niggas talk about, okay? Which is, you have a bad experience with a wealthy, high-profile person, you have a baby, you get dragged through the mud, and then you realize you're in your early 30s. This is their narrative. Their narrative is then you have a baby, you get dragged through the mud, and then you realize, oh, the clock is ticking, and so now you have to completely rebrand into a loud and proud pick me and scold other women about
And the problem is
the men. That is exactly what they say. Why would stop embarrassing us? Stop embarrassing us. As a single 33-year-old woman, stop it. Okay? You know, I hope she at least, you know, gets man she desires. I hope she gets some, you know, good, faithful dick to swoop in or whatever, pay her car note or whatever.
And the sassy, snarky comments directed towards Brittany Renner and whoever thinks and operates like Brittany Renner with other women, black women, at the end. Appreciate when she says, you're embarrassing us, because those manosphere dudes, this is exactly what they say. This is what they say. And you're telling them they're right. She's keeping score. She's telling her, this is Kim Foster saying to Brittany Renner and whoever else whatever other woman, black woman, would cross that line and say, you know what, the men have a point. And yet that it is, Dr. Dunbar, it is reckless. This is definitely a reckless stream. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. What Kim Foster is saying to Brittany Renner and to whatever other woman would consider crossing that line is, you're embarrassing us because you're admitting to those manosphere dudes, and we know what she said. She didn't say dudes. Those black manosphere men, you're telling them that they're right. You're telling them we get into our 30s and then we get desperate and the biological clock is ticking, and she's telling her to suffer in silence. Huh? She is telling her to suffer in silence. Now, another 20 years would pass, and how would Brittany Renner sound then?
For your night. That's a very pro-woman, amazing, like strong, independent woman, but might I add another angle? I would feel like, why the hell ain't no one trying to scoop me up to save my life? Am I ugly? Are they better looking than me? Like, why are they getting saved and I'm over here working, taking on extra shifts now because she got Richard Gere that came and scooped her up and now she got an easy life and now I got extra corns on my toes and my back hurts because no one's saving me. So you have a very positive attitude. I would have been a little bitter, like, why the fuck? Why not me? Why not? I don't want to be irresponsible. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of the goddamn cape. Somebody save me. I want to be Julia Roberts on Hollywood Boulevard in cheap shoes when some guy comes and saves me. I have worked hard since I was 14 and I had to pay. I'm sick of it, Erica.
I do understand.
I understand what you're saying. Classy and independent. It's thankless. I've been dating since the 1980 something, and I'm still single. I'm tired, Erica. You found your man. Don't hate. Let me live this. Let me vent. You're off the strip. I am still on it. I'm in the trenches, and it sucks. I'm sick of being independent. I fucking hate paying for my fucking Range Rover, my other car, my mortgage insurance, my freaking cell phone, computer, Wi-Fi. I am sick of it. I need some guy with bad health to jump on in and interrupt and say, let me take you off your shift. You've been working hard enough. So that's cute what she's doing. I'm not doing that. We are different. I'm tired. I've proven myself, and it only impresses other women. She's like, oh, that's amazing. My friend's independent. These men don't care. Come and save me, some chic, minus the dookie. Just please come and save me. I'm tired. I'm tired, Erica. I don't want to do it no more. Where's my Melania? I want the Melania Trump plan. I'm sick. I've proven myself. Since 1988.
At 88.
I'm tired. I was 15 out of paper route.
Damn, that's a long time.
72 clients. 30-cent tip for some of you bastards in East Providence, Rhode Island on 2nd Street. I remember I gave you papers 7 days a week, and on Sunday you gave me a 30-cent tip. I'm tired. So I'm glad it worked out for you, but I'm not there.
Being a strong, independent woman since 1988 is a lot, Claudia.
Since Salt and Pepper came out.
That's a lot.
I'm tired.
Damn.
So, yes.
Damn.
Excuse me if I'm a little frustrated. So I envy the girls that got taken off the pole, so to say.
Nobody said nothing about no damn pole.
But metaphorically.
Yeah, nobody said. Well, my point was, because here's the thing. The point was that this is a...
Take off the cape, Erica. We lost the election. We're not doing this anymore.
I'm not...
Soft life. Hookers are winning.
All about...
Hoes are winning. Hookers are in the White House again. first lady, if you will. I'm over it. It's no one cares. Nobody cares about independence anymore. But I respect it, but they don't. I get it.
That's Claudia Jordan, who was able to hold out for 50 some odd years. Huh? Don't worry, we're going to play a couple more clips of 40 some odd, 50 some odd year old women saying, look, I got to admit some stuff. I got some truths to tell. But Miss Foster and her ilk are telling all women, particularly black women, hold the line to death. Don't give the men an inch. Don't admit nothing they're saying. I don't care how lonely you are. I don't care how sexually frustrated you are. Huh? I don't care how touch-starved you are. Huh? I don't care. We have an agenda here, and it's to get everything from the men and from society and give nothing. We compromise on nothing. Suffer in silence for my gender war. That is what Kim Foster's saying it. She don't need to say it literally in those words. Huh? What energy do you think informs this?
Because getting a man is not hard. Can we? Truly. Okay, no matter what happens with my relationship status, getting a man is not an accomplishment in 2023. And it also pisses me off. And this is why, like, Brittany is really fucking setting the free 30-something women the fuck back, okay? You're embarrassing us. Okay? And this is why I will always respect Amber Rose. Because
Let's pause right there. What did she say? Brittany is setting the 30-something-year-olds back because you're admitting to the men that they have a point. You are admitting to them we're the stars in our 20s. See, because Brittany and Kim Foster have an opposite trajectory. Brittany is falling off. Kim Foster with the plastic surgery, oops, and the heavy makeup and Weavy Wonder moved up a quarter notch or so. Goddamn Z. Huh? A tenth of a notch. And so she say, I'm doing great in my 30s. I'm doing way better than I did in my 20s. Huh? I realized all my dreams. You're making us look desperate. When Mr. Z says, suffer in silence for my gender war, that is what Miss Foster is saying. You don't need her to say it in those words literally. She's saying it to Brittany Renner. She's saying it to all women who are crossing the line and saying, you know, the men had a point. I should have listened to them in my 20s. Last call for alcohol. Maybe I could catch something slipping in my early 30s. I should have listened to them. Huh? I thought I was going to catch one of these men desperate in his 40s and 50s, hair up, rush him to the altar, try to get one baby left out of that one egg or two eggs I have left. I thought I was going to be able to pull it. But I didn't get my Sierra prayer. Oops. Huh? I didn't get to pull my Sierra prayer. Kim Foster, I got to warn the other ladies. And Miss Foster is saying no. Huh? She's saying no. What that no look like, Z?
She continues on to say that her generation were taught that in order to be empowered, they had to never compromise, stating, quote, "We grew up believing that we could have it all. Not compromising meant having high standards. The higher our standards, the more empowered we were." And she argues that this belief is what causes a lot of women, or a lot of women within her generation, to reject perfectly good partners, saying, quote, "In real life, you can't get everything you want, when you want it, on your terms only." And this view caused a lot of them to view dating as searching or hunting or shopping rather for the perfect partner, and looking at men as a package deal rather than as really human human beings with their own individual flaws that they might have, but also good qualities as well. They had very, very strict superficial criteria of what they wanted from a man, and if there was anything that wasn't being ticked off on that list, they would discard them entirely. She also discusses what she saw often, which was this mismatch between the public feminist identity versus the private secret longing. As she says, quote, "Every one of my single friends wanted to be married, but none of us would admit how badly we craved it for fear of sounding weak or needy or, God forbid, anti-feminist."
Yeah. I'm going to play the whole thing, everyone. And I'm going to put the link for this whole conversation. She said all her feminist friends secretly longed for relationship, but they couldn't say it publicly for fear of looking weak. All that talk of the loneliness epidemic, appreciate what they say. Men, you're lonely, right? You don't have friends, and you don't have friends, and you don't have female companionship because you're sexist and you're misogynist. And the women said, if the men are not going to go to college, and if the men are going to keep on with this red pill talk in this manosphere talk in this podcast, bros, and the women said they would rather leave the country by 40%. And yeah, that's because the way the men are. And men, aren't you lonely? Yeah. So the women, once again, as many of you say in the comments, are projecting. And the wayward ass men are helping the women to project. The women are perfectly okay. And even for the ones that are lonely, they pour into their friends. Don't you know? They pour into the sisterhood. The women aren't toxic when they're lonely. The men are. The women aren't dangerous when they're lonely. The men are. The women go to seek therapy and they donate to charity. Mr. Z Robin. Huh? Unlike those dangerous men, see, single men are dangerous. Single lonely men are dangerous, unlike your snarky, mean, rude, condescending daughters when they're single and lonely. They don't pose a threat. Huh? That's what we're told, right? Hold the line. Once again to the title. Holding the feminist line seems lonely and expensive because it is. But Miss Foster demands that you hold the line no matter how much that itch, you need to scratch that itch.
Personally, I am done with all women-centered events in 2025. The women empowerment brunches, lunches, the ladies' nights, I'm just gonna take a pause. Like, I need heard enough. I have my sisterhood. Of course, I'm open to making new friends, but there's other ways to do that and to spend my money. Like, where's the
what? Yeah. See, and excuse my language, people speak of men, black men, like wherever black men go is where the hoes at, right? Where the hoes at? This young lady is saying, where's the, she looking like a crackhead, like a crack fiend. She's fiending. She need that itch scratch, Miss Foster. Do you have an answer for her other than decenter men? Other than hold the line for your gender war? And she's not the only one.
You know what I'm getting real sick and tired of? Being single. And I get it. It's going to be some people in the comments talking about, you don't need a man to validate you. You should be by yourself. You should use this time to work on you. Child, fuck you. Fuck you. I'm sick and I'm tired and I'm sick of being single. I'm trying to come home to somebody every night. I'm trying to get my booty rubbed on. I'm trying to put on a cute dress and some heels and go out to dinner. I'm trying to get a bill or two paid. Like, I don't need a companion, somebody to talk to. I don't give a fuck about no validation.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter because Miss Foster is telling you to hold the line. Now, Miss Foster's in a relationship. Somebody asked earlier, doesn't Miss Foster have a man? And yeah, this was in the early parts. Remember, this clip is from 2023. This is from early parts of her whatever situation she got going on with him. With that, she's saying to the ladies, if I can hold the line, if I can quote unquote decenter men, you can too. Go to therapy so they can give you coping mechanism talk. Shout out to all those female therapists out there. We're not going to help you fix the problem. We're going to give you coping mechanisms. Huh? Ms. Foster is telling women, the ladies, to hold the line to death.
Because getting a man is not hard. Can we? Truly. Okay, no matter what happens with my relationship status, getting a man is not an accomplishment in 2023. And it also pisses me off. And this is why, like, Brittany is really fucking setting the free 30-something women the fuck back, okay? You're embarrassing us. Okay? And this is why I will always respect Amber Rose. Because to this day, Amber Rose is like, I'll take your fucking shit. I don't give a fuck. I do what I want to do. Sometimes it's a little cringy, but I'm going to stand on my shit. I'm going to own it. I love this. Whatever. She never switched up. Brittany's doing exactly. She's doing exactly what the manosphere niggas talk about. Okay? Which is, you have a bad experience with a wealthy, high-profile person. You have a baby. You get dragged through the mud. And then you realize you're in your early 30s. This is their narrative. Their narrative is then you have a baby, you get dragged through the mud, and then you realize, oh, the clock is ticking. And so now you have to completely rebrand into a loud and proud pick me and scold other
men about what the problem is.
That is exactly what they say. Why would stop embarrassing us? Stop embarrassing us. As a single 33-year-old woman, stop it. Okay? You know, I hope she at least, you know, gets man she desires. I hope she gets some, you know, good, faithful dick to swoop in or whatever, pay her car note or whatever.
Yeah. I want you to appreciate, y'all are running into women who you could tell is desperate as hell, Mr. Z Ramen, and they're still holding the line. They still got this bravado, right? This I'm good bravado as they find different ways to sassy beg, aggressive beg, huh? But you know they struggling. But they're finding little interesting ways to beg.
Niggas be so quick to let me take you on a trip. Pay a fucking bill. Pay a bill. Pay a goddamn bill.
Always begging. Damn.
Can we get on the phone? No, get on the phone with billing. Don't talk to me. Talk to billing.
It'll cost you. It may cost you a little. It may cost you a lot. But it will cost you.
Huh? That's the part of the conversation the men come in at, and the entire society says, no, you can't do that. That sounds transactional. Huh? You treating her like she's a pros. She told me to pay a bill. I'm paying a bill for what? For her presence? For her to just be there? Huh? Miss Foster says, don't negotiate, don't compromise, don't get on a man's program, definitely not a black man's program, definitely not a blue-collar black man's program. It's better you suffer in silence. Hold the feminist line. And well, we have some women that held the feminist line, and they have something to say.
She continues on to say that her generation were taught that in order to be empowered, they had to never compromise, stating, quote, "We grew up believing that we could have it all. Not compromising meant having high standards. The higher our standards, the more empowered we were." And she argues that this belief is what causes a lot of women, or a lot of women within her generation, to reject perfectly good partners, saying, quote, "In real life, you can't get everything you want, when you want it, on your terms only." And this view caused a lot of them to view dating as searching or hunting, or shopping rather, for the perfect partner, and looking at men as a package deal rather than as really human beings with their own individual flaws that they might have, but also good qualities as well. They had very, very strict superficial criteria of what they wanted from a man, and if there was anything that wasn't being ticked off on that list, they would discard them entirely. She also discusses what she saw often, which was this mismatch between the public feminist identity versus the private secret longing. As she says, quote, "Every one of my single friends wanted to be married, but none of us would admit how badly we craved it for fear of sounding weak or needy or, God forbid, anti-feminist." And I can completely understand where she's coming from. I mean, nowadays, if you express that you want any of these things, you're likely going to be called a pick-me, which is kind of similar to being called an anti-feminist, because whenever you're called these things, it implies that you don't like women, or you're betraying women because you're trying to appease or to pander to men. And this is something that Gottlieb actually acknowledges within her own article, as she says that aspiring for or wanting these more traditional ideals is often very much seen as betraying the feminist cause. Gottlieb describes the attitudes she saw as generational entitlement,
Betraying the feminist
expecting
cause.
constant passion, ideal partners, and immediate fulfillment from marriage, writing, "We don't wait to see if connection develops. If a relationship takes too much effort, we bail." With many single women acting like maximizers who held the belief that the longer you wait and the more you search, the better the guy is going to have to be. You don't want to have gone through all that struggle and turmoil only to end up with a good enough guy. But she acknowledges the problem with this mentality, as she states that often it does lead many women to leaving relationships with men who are good just because they're not quite perfect. And then in the end, what ends up happening is because they have this belief that because they've been looking for so long that the person they have to be with has to be practically perfect or the best of the best of the best, it causes them to actually be a lot more critical of the men that they end up trying to date, because they're constantly trying to see if they are good enough, and they are more likely to focus on their faults and find that the men that they date will never truly measure up to the picture that they have inside their heads, which is why many of them would end up ultimately just being single. She also warns that indecisiveness as well as perpetual comparison can also lead to unhappiness, and also creates this fear of settling that some women have. But she does also make a clear distinction between settling and compromising, stating that she doesn't think that you should just marry
Why are
an awful
black
person
women
just for
always
the sake
told
of
to
getting married.
settle?
However, it's important for you to have realistic expectations and realistic goals for what you want for yourself within your love life. What matters is finding the perfect partner, not the perfect person, having reasonable expectations. She then also encourages women to search for important core traits like shared values, kindness, and responsibility, rather than hyper-focusing on this superficial criteria checklist. I also found that Gottlieb, if I'm even pronouncing her name correctly, I really hope I am, but I'm trying, okay? I also found a really interesting interview that she did with Mary Claire, where she was talking about the problems with the feminist view of self-sufficiency. And she was talking about how she thinks that this idea of being super self-sufficient and hyper-independent is actually antithetical to a successful relationship, which requires interdependence and vulnerability. And so she very much argues that the feminist views about self-sufficiency are actually are misapplied in the context of romantic life. And for that reason, it doesn't really work. And the reason I found it really interesting is because it actually reminded me of a conversation that I had with a friend of mine. I remember in the earlier stages of her relationship where we were talking on the phone, and she was saying how she found that she had to let go of some of these feminist views that she'd had for many years, because we both went through that feministy phase in our lives, because she was very much a hyper independent girl, like very, very independent, wanted to do everything for herself. And so when she got into a relationship with her boyfriend, now husband, she was very much determined to prove to him that she could independently do things, independently problem solve, and that she didn't need him, but not in a spiteful way, just in a way of trying to show him that she wasn't a burden and she wasn't dead weight, you know, she could hold her own, because to her, she thought that that would be an attractive trait. She thought that that would be something that he would like, when in reality what actually ended up happening was she ended up just making him feel as though, why was he really in her life? Because if she didn't really need him, then what was the point of them even being together? I think that's just because of the fact that for many women, including her at the time, I don't think we really understand just how much feeling needed is quite an important thing to a lot of men. A lot of men like to feel needed or need to feel needed. It is something that is quite important to them, and it's something that I don't think she understood at the time. And so it was kind of ironic in the end, because she was being hyper independent because she thought that would be a positive trait and something that he would like, but actually it was pushing him away, because he wanted to feel needed, he wanted to help her, he wanted to take care of her, he wanted to be all of those things for her, but she wasn't allowing him to do that. And so it kind of had a negative impact on their relationship as opposed to a positive one. But thankfully she was able to have the self-awareness to kind of realize what was happening there and kind of make some adjustments. But in also doing that, she realized that she kind of had to let go of some of these feminist beliefs that she had about, you know, how to conduct yourself in a relationship, and her views about independence and all of that kind of stuff, and the position that a man should take in her life, etc. And to be fair, they're now happily married, and she is absolutely so in love with this man. She literally glows when she talks about him. And it's just crazy to me to think that if she didn't have that moment of realizing what was going on there and wasn't able to course correct, then her outcome would have probably been different. Who knows if they would have gotten married? And that's such a weird thing to even think about now, because I can't imagine them two not being married. Like, they make perfect sense together, but they could very well have not been like that, because her views before were actually causing harm to her relationship. It is crazy how much this stuff can have a big impact on your outcomes, which is why I think it's important to talk about. But within the rest of her interview with Mary Claire, Gottlieb also talks about the fact that we need to kind of destigmatize women saying that they want to have a partner. You know, she emphasizes the fact that there's nothing wrong with wanting to be in a relationship. There's nothing wrong with wanting to have a partner. But yeah, we seem to have this kind of culture where if a woman openly outright says that she wants these things, she's kind of viewed in a negative way, to the point where, like she said before in her article, that many women within her generation didn't even feel comfortable saying to each other that they longed for marriage and longed for kids and family and stuff like that. Now, Gottlieb's message did unsurprisingly receive some backlash. She had some people accusing her of being an anti-feminist and also calling her shameful, arguing that she was basically trying to encourage women to settle down with anyone and to get married out of fear. To which she responded to by saying that she's not criticizing feminism as a whole, and she's also not saying that you should just marry and settle down with anybody, but she is making a point of discussing and challenging some of the feminist ideas that are out there that encourage women to believe that they can have it all without having to compromise on anything, because she does think that it can be harmful to some women when it comes to the impact it can have on their romantic lives, because of course if you're going to be in a relationship with someone, you're going to have to compromise. So if you've got an ideology that teaches you that you should never compromise, and that's what empowerment looks like, then it makes it very difficult for you to be able to have a healthy, sustainable relationship. I also just find it really crazy that she was considered an anti-feminist for discussing this, because ultimately what she's doing is she's looking back on her life and she's reflecting on the choices that she's made that have led to the outcomes that she has. Quite clearly she's not happy with the outcomes that she's had as a result of those choices she made in her youth, and so what she's simply doing is connecting the dots to understand how she got there, and it's just simply spreading the word to other young women so that they don't repeat the mistakes that she's made. But I guess it would have been pro-feminist if she just kept quiet.
If she just kept quiet. It would have been pro-feminist if she just kept quiet. This young lady read an article from an author, journalist, and the other women who read that went after the journalist because she didn't hold the line. She admitted her faults. She admitted the limits of feminism, how a certain brand of feminism taught women to be antagonistic to men, and how that cost her, because she, once again, shout out to the Roger Report, you got to be held accountable for what you believe in. She believed in this brand of feminism, second wave feminism going forward, and it cost her everything. Children, a man, etc. But Miss Foster tells women like that to hold the line and suffer in silence.
Because getting a man is not hard. Can we? Truly. Okay, no matter what happens with my relationship status, getting a man is not an accomplishment in 2023. And it also pisses me off. And this is why, like, Brittany is really fucking setting the free 30-something women the fuck back, okay? You're embarrassing us. Okay? And this is why I will always respect Amber Rose. Because to this day, Amber Rose is like, I'll take your fucking shit. I don't give a fuck. I do what I want to do. Sometimes it's a little cringy, but I'm going to stand on my shit. I'm going to own it. I love this. Whatever. She never switched up. Brittany's doing exactly. She's doing exactly what the manosphere niggas talk about. Okay? Which is, you have a bad experience with a wealthy, high-profile person. You have a baby. You get dragged through the mud. And then you realize you're in your early 30s. This is their narrative. Their narrative is then you have a baby, you get dragged through the mud, and then you realize, oh, the clock is ticking. And so now you have to completely rebrand into a loud and proud pick me and scold other women about what they're not doing to get them in. That is exactly what they say. Why would stop embarrassing us. Stop embarrassing us. As a single 33-year-old woman, stop it. Okay? I hope she at least, gets man she desires. I hope she gets some, good, faithful dick to swoop in or whatever, pay her car note or whatever.
As a 30-something-year-old, you are proving everything they say right. You are saying that they're right. You're embarrassing us. That's Miss Foster's words, right? She's telling Brittany Renner and her ilk, hold the feminist line. But the other 30-something-year-olds are telling Miss Foster, I can't do it anymore. Once again, they are not speaking to you, men. They are not speaking to you, black men. These ladies are speaking to Miss Foster when they say, I can't do it anymore.
Okay, I have one more thought that I have to get up as the sun is rising. Okay. Sometimes we lie to ourselves. And I've been doing that for quite some time now. And I am 32 this year. And it's almost the end of the year, so I'll be 33. And I'm just not about to go into 33 lying. So I'm going to be one of the first hard up type of women to admit that I want a man. I may actually need a man. That feels so disempowering sometimes to say in 2025. And people make you feel like, oh, you're weak. It's like, fuck it.
She's talking about Miss
I
Foster.
want a man. I don't necessarily... Yes.
For those of you that say disempowering, what's so disempowering for admitting that? She's not talking to us. She's not talking to black men. She is talking to the feminist, white, black, Latina, Asian, and otherwise, but specifically the black feminist like Miss Foster.
Because getting a man is not hard. Can we? Truly. Okay, no matter what happens with my relationship status, getting a man is not an accomplishment. In 2023, and it also pisses me off. And this is why, like, Brittany is really fucking setting the free 30-something women the fuck back, okay? You're embarrassing us. Okay? And this is why I will always respect Amber Rose. Because to this day, Amber Rose is like, I'll take your fucking shit. I don't give a fuck. I do what I want to do. Sometimes it's a little cringy, but I'm going to stand on my shit. I'm going to own it. I love this. Whatever. She never switched up. Brittany's doing exactly. She's doing exactly what the manosphere niggas talk about. Okay? Which is, you have a bad experience with a wealthy, high-profile person. You have a baby. You get dragged through the mud. And then you realize you're in your early 30s. This is their narrative. Their narrative is then you have a baby, you get dragged through the mud, and then you realize, oh, the clock is ticking. And so now you have to completely rebrand into a loud and proud pick me and scold
you
other
damn
women
right
about what they're not doing to get them in. That is exactly what they say. Why would you're
and we're right.
Stop embarrassing us. As a single 33-year-old woman, stop it. Okay? You know, I hope she at least, gets man she desires. I hope she gets some good, faithful dick to swoop in or whatever, pay her car note or whatever.
And that little sass at the end, that little jab at Brittany Renner, and quite frankly, the masses of women. That's why Mr. Z says the outliers are doing too much talking. Miss Foster's an outlier with her Harvard education and whatever money she's earning. And she's telling the rest of women, black women, to suffer in silence. Hold the feminist line, Mr. Z's title for today's stream. Holding the feminist line seems lonely and expensive. And Miss Foster's not the only one to tell the ladies to hold the line. Maybe not so much about female empowerment, but about lifestyle.
This is what I tell average looking and below average looking women. If you can't date up, be alone. Life is easier that way. And I know that's controversial. I don't care.
Huh? So when you see the ladies crack under the pressure and we as men were like, what? Why are you talking like that? Who's telling you it's better to be alone? Where are you getting this from? And the ladies, because they're cowards, and they'll never say other women, other black women. They'll never say it's other women, other black women. And people make you feel weak. It's not people. You mean women. You mean black women. Huh? The Kim Fosters are telling y'all to hold the line, and then y'all gotta lie to yourselves. Huh?
Look at me. If you were single, if you were a single woman in Charlotte, North Carolina, look at me, okay? I was feeling great about myself. I was like, I'm a bad bitch. I'm single. I don't need no man. I actually really would love a man, and I do need a man. But just, this is what we say when we're single and we just want to... Anyway, focus, Medina. Look at me.
Huh? Y'all wondering why y'all running across these schizophrenic ass women. Strong, independent, don't need no man. Meanwhile, they struggling financially. Even if they're not struggling financially, they lonely as hell. Even if they have a little boy toy, a little situationship with a male coworker, he slide through once a week, once every other week, not knock the cobwebs out. But she's still lonely and single. And the Miss Fosters of the world are telling her to hold the line. Do not bend, do not break, do not give an inch, do not admit to anything. Huh? Straight face. And it doesn't matter that you enjoyed it in the beginning, but now that pressure is on, that loneliness, huh? It went from a few days to a few weeks to a few months. Now it's working on some years. And you can't take it anymore. It doesn't matter. Hold the line. She's telling women like this to hold the line.
Because personally speaking, I've also been single for a long time. And in the beginning, it was like, oh, this is so much fun. You're at peace and I love it and I can do whatever I want. I only have to focus on myself and blah, 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 blah. That shit's old real quick.
Huh? Hold the line. She's telling women like that to hold the line. Huh? Shout out to Shay Sade. She's telling women like this to hold the line.
Because growing up, I was taught you need to be able to take care of yourself. You shouldn't depend on anybody. You definitely don't depend on a man. In my mid-30s, I hate living by myself. I hate it. I hate it.
You need to be able to take care of yourself. Don't depend on no man type talk. Okay, you're self-sufficient. Cool. Which type of women were telling her that? Whether they're highly educated or not, the Kim Foster types. Huh? This is why Mr. Z laughs at all of those folks talking about this equality, talking egalitarian and partnership in my person. Cut the crap. Men are not pulling no person talk. We're not doing that person talk. We're not doing that partnership talk. Nah, we gonna leave the women out here, particularly the black women. We're going to leave them to the elements. And whatever happened to them outside happened to them. If that's white men, if that's Latino men, if that's Asian men, and whatever situationship they have or lack thereof, you just gonna be their cut buddy? Cool. If that's other women, y'all over here munching on each other, so be it. If you gonna rose toy it up, so be it. Huh? So be it. If you're going to follow behind the Kim Fosters of the world, then you get what you get. Happy munching. Happy co-munching. Huh? That young lady that not Kim Foster, sorry, Shay, that Shay Sade reviewed, she said everything. Yeah, the struggle is real. Appreciate, even if the women aren't financially struggling, even if they're not. See, Miss Foster's on the spectrum. So she'll find other ways or other things to preoccupy her time and try to distract herself from that crushing loneliness when she was single. Your everyday black woman said, see, I can only do it so much. Once again, you wonder why they sound schizophrenic, because of the way they were raised, because of who their elders are, olders, because of the black female olders, because of their girl cousins like Miss Foster, because of their older sisters like Chrissy, huh? Because of their co-workers like Divested Zealot, like Shira Seven, because of their Asian homegirls like Manifestel, huh? Yeah. Continuing.
Because growing up, I was taught you need to be able to take care of yourself. You shouldn't depend on anybody. Definitely don't depend on a man. In my mid-30s, I hate living by myself. I hate it. I hate it.
This one says, I'm in my mid-30s and I hate being single and I hate living alone. You guys, I think this is a lot more common than we think. I actually want to applaud the women who are coming out and being honest, because I think we got to stop with all the cap and stop trying to tell women that they have everything they need by themselves, unto themselves. They don't need anybody else. And that if they have the desire to have a romantic relationship, if they have a desire to expand their family and outside of themselves, that there's something wrong with them, like they're missing something, that they need to develop something else in their character, that they need to develop a deeper relationship with God, that there is something inherently wrong with them if they simply want to be in a relationship. And that's not true. It's just not true. I just need to start by acknowledging women who are coming out and just sharing their journey. There is nothing wrong with being sad that you are single. Like, there's literally nothing wrong with that.
I'm in my mid-30s and I struggle so much to connect with women who have partners that are providers. I know this about myself. There's a level of envy in a way. I'm envious of them. And I struggle to empathize a lot of the time. So I really do.
She said
She said she's envious.
Who are providers. Ooh, that's crazy. I think the really interesting thing about what goes on in culture today, right? So obviously we now have decades upon decades of in culture where it's obviously okay for women to be able to take care of themselves, to be able to have their own career. Like, women are very much liberated as far as being able to have access to the same jobs men do, being able to have access to credit, getting loans, having cars, getting houses, going to school, right? So in that sense, they're very much liberated and like literally don't have a need for men as far as their own economic or financial journey, not in the way that they needed it before. What that didn't take into account is the fact that like women who are now in these systems and these corporate systems are under a lot of stress. If you're working in the corporate world, if you're working nursing, if you're in the medical field, like if you're in any of these industries that were previously really only for men, now women are in there, they're under the same amount of stress. They still have deadlines to reach. I think sometimes there are women now, fast forward, where the culture is now so used to a liberated woman, marriage has declined, and now women are feeling like they're in positions to where they literally have to take care of themselves financially. They don't have a husband, they don't have them, they don't have these things that previously when women weren't given access to those situations they would have gotten from their husbands. The reason I'm saying that is because I very much feel like you have now women, particularly under this current economy, who even if they are able to maintain themselves financially, or if they're able to sustain themselves, they're feeling the pressure. They feel the brunt of that economic burden. They feel the heaviness. They might start to be women who appear as if they do not. Already a few seconds, and that's what I think is really interesting about this. She's letting you know that even those ladies who are, they're getting the bag or they've gotten the bag, they may be living out ladies who aren't in that dynamic, who are in that scenario, and they're envious because they're like, damn, I wish I could rest of my femininity. I wish I had a man to take care of me. That's what's interesting about this.
It's literally just me. Like, I have to keep a roof over my head. I have to keep up with my health. I have to keep up with my happiness. I have to keep up with my dog. I know that's the first world problems, but just like all these things I'm doing by myself. And I know there are a lot of people out there that can relate. And
which side note, there's something wrong with animal lovers. I know there's plenty of y'all who I'm sure are probably animal lovers, but
she's not the only one who's saying that even if I can financially afford it to a certain extent, it is taxing keeping up with all of this stuff by myself. She's not the only black woman we heard say that. Played for the people, Z.
I am tired of the amount of gaslighting us single people have to go through. Because let's be honest, a lot of the things that our friends can get for free, we have to pay for. And there's no amount of self-love or therapy that can kind of circumvent the frustration that being single is very expensive. Because if, an example, I am sick, I don't have anyone who can cook for me. My friend can ask her boyfriend to cook for her. I have to DoorDash something. If I need help moving something in my house, I need to go find someone and pay that person to come over and move it. Well, my friend can just ask her partner. And all those things just add up. If you lose your job, you have someone who can help you with rent. If you are having like financial trouble or health trouble, you now need to like disclose that to your family or friends, which might be embarrassing, or you can tell your one husband or your wife to help you through that. It is so frustrating to have to go through so many things alone and make these really big decisions, hard decisions completely by myself. I have my friends, I have my family, I love them, I can lean on them, but maybe I don't want to tell them all about my finances. Maybe I don't want to have to over-explain my entire health condition to them. Maybe I just need someone to help me with a real quick task that I don't want to have to pay someone or wait for someone to drive across town to come help me. And it is so frustrating because we're told that, being single is great. And it's really great when compared to an unhealthy relationship. But being single is not always better than having a healthy relationship. Don't get me wrong, I am not going to go hop into a relationship with a man just so I can have someone. But I do think we need to be honest that being single, while it can be really great, is also very impractical sometimes.
And let me read this comment. And Sefson says she removed this clip from her page. Yeah, because of probably people like Z or at the same time, and being chastised by other women, namely black women, for saying too much too loudly. admitting too much too loudly, huh? Because this was a moment of weakness. Mr. Z has said this before. We've said this in the past. They're going to have moments of weakness when they admit what's going on. That mask is going to slip. That doesn't mean that they don't put the mask on. That doesn't mean they don't put the mask back on. But every once in a while, that mask is going to slip. Huh? And Gavin says, you know what's crazy, Z? A lot of women on TikTok specifically are having this sentiment. Send the clips. I'll save them. I'll save them as fast as y'all send them. Because once again, as Seth's son says, the women are going to remove them. Kim Foster said something similar once. I'm beating myself up. I didn't save it. It ain't on her channel no more. Of course it's not. Huh? They all have moments of weakness where they start questioning because the world is real. The world is real. KMS is killing me with the war talk. KMS says, war, this was inevitable. Huh? But KMS, but you're right though. How did everyone think you were going to raise a bunch of men and women to be hyper individualistic? The men were going to be like, wait a minute, this math don't math, and I got to go through the women to have children. So the men came to their senses first, while the women are trying to find some weird way of being hyper individualistic and then having the community, air quotes, the community backstop their weirdo ways of thinking and feeling about their independence. Where community is nothing but, in case of emergency, break glass, clean up men. And some women. Huh? As Miss Foster said, I'm glad she said it. What she loves about Amber Rose is the middle finger. Yeah. And Amber Rose is where now? Uh-oh. Huh? Yeah. And Kama says Kumate is fight was in the movie Bloodsport. Isn't that didn't the Boondocks mention that also? If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Z, almost forgot what I was trying to say. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think they mentioned that in the Boondocks also. But it was going to be war. It was inevitable, KMS. It was inevitable. Now it is time for that civil war amongst women. I've been calling it. Now let Mr. Z do the obligatory I told y'all so, even though y'all didn't doubt me. How did Z know? Because I knew on one side were the Miss Fosters of the world, right? The Kim Fosters of the world, the Real Talk with Yannies of the world, the Chrissies of the world, huh? The divested zealots of the world. Not all of them have the exact same politics. Yeah. The Julesies of the world, maybe to a slightly lesser extent. And on the other side were women like when Mr. Z was playing. Women like this who can't take it anymore.
Because personally speaking, I've also been single for a long time. And in the beginning, it was like, oh, this is so much fun. You're at peace and I love it and I can do whatever I want. I only have to focus on myself and blah, 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 blah. That shit's old real quick.
Huh? Now it's a battle of will. Yeah, what happened? So to be fair to Miss Foster, we're gonna play that whole clip where she was mentioning Brittany Renner because I don't want to have it taken out of context. To be fair to her, so y'all can hear what she was saying. Now, remember, this was recorded in 2023. To be fair to her, we're gonna play the whole thing so y'all can see Mr. Z's not taking it out of context. Right? And let's make sure we do this also. Fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use. And let's get underway.
Stop embarrassing us. Stop embarrassing us. As a single 33-year-old woman, stop it. Let's talk about Brittany Renner. Let's go to Brittany Renner's transition.
As a former loud and proud man hater, here are 5 things that have changed the game for me. Number 1, I realized I didn't hate men. I hated the way I allowed myself to be mistreated by men. Big difference, right? You're not a victim. You are a participant. And when you point the finger, you miss out on the opportunity to grow. Number 2, I stopped saying I didn't need a man. Because if I want a relationship with a man, then I need one, right? Okay, that's that on that. 3, you can't be that serious about getting picked if you're not in the gym at least 3 times a week. You don't even take care of yourself, so how would you expect someone to take care of you? Number 4, I stopped entertaining stragglers. And stragglers are guys you meet along the way that you know you're not really ever going to take seriously, but you use them for your own personal entertainment. Number 1, that's wrong. Number 2, you're sending a mixed message. Stay committed to what you want. Most importantly, number 5, accountability. Woo. I analyzed my behavior and what parts of me resonated with these men I deemed problematic. I'm here to tell you that the call is coming from inside the house.
I had to get my pen because I have some notes, Brittany.
You know they hate accountability.
Because after Brittany broke up with her ex, his name is PJ Washington, and she started making the rounds on the nigga podcasts, you know what I mean? Like the He-Man Woman Haters Club podcasts. She was saying things that were not quite right, but I felt like they were promising. Okay, let's watch.
That you warn guys about girls like me, so tell me about girls like me.
Just in general. Like, I mean,
well, no, don't women in general, because you literally specifically said before we got on here that you did say that you warn guys about girls like me. So now that we're face to face, what kind of girl am I?
You're not special. You're like other girls.
I'm not special.
Like, like other women that
so
are
what
like,
makes you special then?
I never said I was.
What do you gain from telling girls that they're not special? How does that make you feel? I mean, I know everything is good, but I'm asking you a real question. So how does it make you feel? Because if I say you're a bitch ass nigga, that does something for me, right? If I insult you, or if I tell you you're not special, you're forgettable, what does that do for me? No, but that isn't. That's what I'm saying. No, but I'm saying, what if I call you, or if I just say that again, you're forgettable. That's why I want to do guys' podcast. Forgettable. Hate the setup. The name is underwhelming. I didn't really see the value in it. Right? That's how I feel. Right. But
what a difference a year makes, right? So the first clip.
Yeah, you love the antagonism, don't you, Miss Foster? Got the smirk on your face.
And when she was saying, confronting the fresh and fit dudes, what do you? Oh, you were just talking shit, but now I'm here. Are you still gonna talk the same shit? Why do you feel like you can say this about me? You don't even know. I thought, oh, we love growth. We love evolution. Okay. And now she has completely reverted back to, ran straight toward the Just Pearly Things of it all. Just Pearly Things is the manosphere adjacent white woman who lives in London. She has, I don't know, millions of subscribers now, at least over 1 million. She just had Andrew Tate on her platform. So she says, I'm modern, but modern women are fucked up. And it's like, girl, is this, sometimes I truly do think that, now Pearly, I don't know what her name is, but Pearly, girl, did you just make this channel just so you can find a man? Because she is simultaneously saying things like, oh, modern women have it wrong. Modern women are fucked up, but also I'm modern. And it's like, all right. But that grift is working for her. Brittany has decided that she also wants to be in on that grift. Look, I think that self-reflection, particularly after you have really devastating or traumatic experiences with lovers, with male romantic partners, essential, truly. I've done so much growth and, I've journaled a lot and
doesn't look like
I'm
it.
Such a different person, after having a really hard breakup last year. And I've dated a lot since then, but this, not like this girl, the idea of, using the manosphere's favorite buzzwords of accountability, throwing that in there.
Kim Foster hates the word accountability. Yes, lady, yes.
Like, I did watch about half of her interview with Just Pearly Things, where she explains that the narrative that she was going to PJ Washington's high school games, no, wrong. She went to his college games when he was like 20 and she was 27. Okay, still, why? But not high school. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I'm glad that you, cleared that up. Still, why? But okay, we so want to be, loved and desired and whatever, and you think you found your soulmate, so you're gonna fly to the University of Kentucky or whatever, and this man cheated on you repeatedly and then try to drag you through the mud. I can feel empathy for anybody, so I can certainly feel empathy for that situation. I also think it's really fucked up. I do have a soft spot for pregnant women and postnatal women, like women who have just given birth, because I feel like that is such a vulnerable time. So I could really feel for her. But then going straight to women, it's your fault. And I used to hate men, but I don't hate men anymore. And I had to be accountable for all of the horrible shit and my terrible choices and my self-esteem. Okay, that's one thing. Okay. But then to add on top of it, and you can't expect to get a man if you're not in the gym 3 times a week.
And that's what really bothers you, huh?
Now, these are the things, the victim blaming, self-hating, misogynistic,
that's not your issue. Doing things for the express pleasure of men, that's your problem.
Now we went straight to, you grifting. Because what does 3 times a week in the gym have to do with any of this shit? You scamming. You big scamming. Because what?
Oh, yeah, you're going to call it scamming.
First of all, people are always like, oh, yeah, there's women on my 600-pound life who have men. Yeah, because getting a man is not hard. Can we? Truly. Okay, no matter what happens.
What about getting the man you want?
Getting a man is not an accomplishment.
What about desirable men?
It also pisses me off. And this is why, like, Brittany is really, really fucking setting the free 30-something women the fuck back, okay? You're embarrassing us. Okay? And this is why I will always respect Amber Rose. Because to this day, Amber Rose is like, I'll take your fucking shit. I don't give a fuck. I do what I want to do. Sometimes it's a little cringy, but I'm gonna
you love that negative liberty.
Own it. I love this. Whatever. She never switched up. Brittany's doing exactly. She's doing exactly what the manosphere niggas talk about. Okay.
Rightfully so.
Which is, you have a bad experience with a wealthy, high-profile person. You have a baby. You get dragged through the mud. And then you realize you're in your early 30s. This is their narrative. Their narrative is then you have a baby, you get dragged through the mud, and then you realize, oh, the clock is ticking. And so now you have to completely rebrand into a loud and proud pick me and scold.
And the problem is
what they're not doing to get them in. That is exactly what they say. Why would stop embarrassing us? Stop embarrassing us. As a 33-year-old woman, stop it. Okay? I hope she at least, gets man she desires. I hope she gets some, good, faithful dick to swoop in or whatever, pay her car note or whatever. Because as I've said over and over again, and I truly, truly mean this, okay? 33-year-old Kimberly's dating life is so much better than 23-year-old Kimberly's dating life. And maybe that is a byproduct of the fact that I did not peak. I don't know, physically
no, it's
or whatever,
the surgery.
When I was 23. Maybe that's a byproduct if I just like myself more at 33.
No, it's the surgery and the weave.
In who I am. I love my job. I am in the exact space in my life at 33 that I dreamed of at 23. So maybe
and most women are not.
The manifestation shit or the secret or, the energy or whatever, maybe. But I hate the idea that there's this prevailing narrative that we are trying to pass down to the young girls, to the teenagers, and to the 20-somethings that you find your man. Oh, hold on to the first man who looks at you. Oh, you better hold on to him because it ain't gonna get better. Oh, it gets better.
It's true.
No. How to make good choices.
No.
If you don't, I didn't make the best choices. I didn't date the best men in my 20s. You can still hold on and get to better when you know yourself better. Better partner, better sex, more fun,
not true.
More agency, less desperation. It does not have to be that.
Appreciate, y'all. This is why Mr. Z says the outliers are doing too much talking. Miss Foster, let's take her at face value. Okay, fine. That was her trajectory. That's not the masses of women, particularly the masses of black women's trajectory. Huh? The masses of black women are out here super struggling. Huh?
Tonight's program is going to be about survival sex and the fact that the majority of women today are engaged in survival sex and the men around them don't understand that you are the key to that survival. And once your usefulness has been expired, you'll be discarded because it is not about true love. It is about true struggle and true business. We're going to move very, very fast with these facts and figures tonight because I'm going to run through them. We have a lot to take care of here. And this is going to be an appropriate bookend to my previous program, The Wealth Killer. Survival sex. First of all, as you can see on your screen here from Black Enterprise Magazine, Black and Latino women who never marry are the least wealthy in the U.S. Now, it has been years and years and years since we have ever had an opportunity to get this particular stat. now that it's come to us, I feel like it's necessary to go ahead and review that. This is
remember, Ms. Foster said it gets
Federal
better.
Reserve of St. Louis. This is not from some think tank, and this is not from some news organization. This is from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. And as of this year, they report that the gender wealth gap of never married adults shrank in 2022. Yeah, but that's counting everybody. It's once we start digging off into the numbers, the things start getting absolutely cataclysmic. It says here that Black and Hispanic women have little wealth. Now, this is from the article you just saw in Black Enterprise magazine. They're referring to this report from the St. Louis Federal Reserve. I want to go through this right quick. Breaking down the data by race and ethnicity revealed that never married. Now, these are among people who have never been married, been single their whole lives. White men had the highest median wealth at $40,000. Race and ethnicity were important to consider when looking at wealth gaps because such disaggregation, look it up, usually exposes more substantial financial gaps. Indeed, never married Black women had just $3,300 in median wealth. Never married Hispanic women had $5,600, and never married white women had $31,000. For every, this is what
remember, Ms. Foster said it gets better.
For every dollar of median wealth held by never married white men, never married Black women, and never married Hispanic women, Black women had 8 cents. And never married Hispanic women had 14 cents.
It gets better. That's what Ms. Foster said.
This is not from some news organization. This is from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. You can see the chart right here. You can see the chart right here. And what it shows you here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you can see this. Among those who've never been married, you take a look at the rate for Black women, 8 cents. You take a look at the rate for Hispanic women, 14 cents. You take a look at the rate for Black men, 21 cents. What I'm telling you here, right there, is that single Black men, never married Black men have 3 times the wealth of Black women. This is not Jason Black saying this. This is not the Manosphere saying this, although they'll all probably be talking about this next week because this is the program that they love to hate and hate to admit that they watch. Now that they're all passing around my vernacular, they hate to admit they watch this. But by the way, here's the facts and figures and analysis you'll receive absolutely nowhere else. This from the Federal Bank of St. Louis. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to put the link to that article in the chat room there so you all can look that up for yourselves. For those of you watching live or recorded, you can click on that link in the chat and that will bring it up for you. From the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. That's not me talking. For years and years, I have wanted somebody to compile these numbers.
Yeah, so Ms. Foster said it gets better. Ms. Foster said it gets better. Brittany Renner, light skin, right? Athletic build, nice shape, cute enough face. She knows it doesn't because she was at her peak. She knows it doesn't. But the outliers are doing too much talking. So Miss Foster, if we take her at her word, she's peaking in her 30s after the surgery and the long yaki weave. You don't even know if it's yaki, but whatever. And so Miss Foster is supposed to be the one representing the masses of Black women concerning their dating and mating prospects. Yes, Miss Foster, for your particular cohort of highly educated, Ivy League attending, Ivy League graduate Black women, then maybe. For the masses of Black women, no. Huh? The masses of Black women actually who don't get married eventually end up, well, a disproportionate number of Black women are kinless as they age. Advocates say they deserve a social safety net too. That's how they end up, Miss Foster. Again to the title. Holding the feminist line seems lonely and expensive because it is lonely and expensive. If y'all were so good financially, if it only gets better from here, Miss Foster, then there wouldn't be a disproportionate number of Black women are kinless as they age. I want you to appreciate all the racism and anti-blackness of the system goes out the window once these weirdos start talking. They forget, huh? When they try to save face, they forget. And relevance is racism doesn't exist. Yeah. The dominant society says that. We know that. But effectively, when these weirdos like Miss Foster start talking, they forget they're black for a second or two, or 3, or 10. Huh? She forgets she's a black woman in America. Oh, wait, Z, you forgot. Because of how class informs her, she's going to be good. Miss Foster's making good money. Her man is making less than her, but he's making good money. So she talks like that. It gets better from here just to save face. Huh? Just to save face. And this is a good time to read this from KMS. And KMS is, and did it bring you back to me? Huh? This is a Thanos line. Unfortunately, I don't do reachbacks, men. Kumite Keisha. Right? No, oh yeah, they're gonna have to thumb. Mr. Z is not advocating for violence on his channel. Anyway, so yeah. Once again, Mr. Z is not advocating for violence on his channel. I'm just saying that the outliers, the outlier black women, are doing too much talking. It's the Miss Fosters that go on lecture. It's the Miss Fosters that save face for women, for black women, as the average black woman is out here looking real sick and lonely and struggling. And she's telling you the limits to all that independence talk.
Because personally speaking, I've also been single for a long time. And in the beginning, it was like, oh, this is so much fun. You're at peace and I love it and I can do whatever I want. I only have to focus on myself and blah, 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 blah. That shit's old real quick.
See, you got black women who's saying, okay, we're holding the line. But what does that mean for us as black women at the end? We're holding the line, Miss Foster. But who the hell are we supposed to end up with?
Vita's back with another one. Let me know if you agree or disagree.
So I had put up a post the other day pretty much saying that the reason why black men are choosing to date outside of their race is because of black women's entitlements and attitudes towards black men. And all I saw was a whole bunch of negative comments from black women bashing black men yet again, talking about how they ain't ish and all this other negativity. But again, let's go back to the stats. I love stats, right? Because black men are more likely to be able to marry and date outside of their race than black women. Black women are the least likely for another race to want to come and marry them. So my thing is, I need black women to wake up and realize if the black man doesn't choose us, who's going to be choosing us? Because it's a very slim chance that another race will choose us.
Choose yourself, girl. We choose each other. Women choose each other. Black women choose each other. What she's telling you, what that young lady's telling you, is in the comments of whatever video she's referencing, were women holding the line. And she's saying, okay, fine, we're holding the line. Cool. What does that mean for us at the end? And to that young lady, I will say, they're not thinking that far. They don't care. To spite men, black men in specific, they're going to say the incendiary thing. They're going to say the spiteful thing. They're going to do the I don't need no man thing. And they're going to hold the line. Now we know what that means at the end of the day, how it's going to end up for them. That spite. That spite hurts. Yep. That spiteful language, that resentment, huh? Yeah. That feeling of, this is what I'm limited to? These men? All that incendiary, aggressive, antagonistic talk on the internet, and especially, but even in real life. Yeah. You know who hurt the most? Black women. Ah. Ah. Huh? Yeah. Hold the line, right? Hold the line. And KMS says, and thank you for the super chat, academics pretending they don't know what generalization is exposes the grift. Their grift. Effing liars. I don't know if these people fully appreciate, because if you're academic on the level of academic we're speaking of, like the Dr. Tommy Curry level of academic, right? If you're not really in tune with your students, if you're not paying attention to the conversations as you're walking through the halls or when you're in class or a lecture, you might not fully appreciate it, right? If you're not into one of the soft sciences where you study these things, and then particularly for, let's say, under 30-year-olds, maybe even under 40-year-olds, what we're witnessing right now, and it's happening very quickly now, it's been happening for a little while, but the change is happening so quickly, where so many young people are not coupling up. We don't want to actually have a conversation of what that means for this quote unquote generational wealth, what that means for the healthcare system, what that means for taxes, what that means for population growth, what that means for America's standing globally. Because then we're going to have to put more and more of the onus on the women. Huh? And all of this threat of 40% of women say that, they wouldn't mind leaving the country and blah, blah, blah. And remember, they mentioned men in this, maybe to find a spouse or whatever. And as Mr. Z said, it's not going to happen. Because once you leave the US, and definitely once you leave the West, and yes, I know the country where New Zealand and Canada and Italy, do they appreciate the Italian economy? And what age Italian men tend to move out of the house? In their 30s? Y'all don't even know what's going on. How many homes are $1 million+ in Canada? Move to Canada. If you can't hack it, if you can't afford stuff in America, you think you're going to be able to afford stuff in Canada? Good luck. Huh? Good luck. All of that crap sound good. KMS, they're trying to save face. Huh? The academics and how their grift is it's being exposed, as you said. It exposes their grift. What social media and the internet has exposed so much feminist crap, and it's causing the ladies to, some of them on the very periphery, on the edge, to question. It's not all, it's not most. It's not even a sizable minority. I won't even mention that. I had to play the clip from Miss Foster because I played it before. Shout out to Lion, right? I think it was I Am Waffles that found it for us. Shout out to I Am Waffles. I had to play that clip to emphasize how the ladies sound. That when Mr. Z speaks about holding the line, suffer in silence for my gender war, that is what Miss Foster is saying. She maybe didn't say it in those exact words, but y'all got to see the look on her face. And she was being a bit comical, but she meant every single word. Y'all got to see the example that she painted, the juxtaposition, Amber Rose, the middle finger, the I don't give a F. Y'all wonder why Mr. Z says free, white, and 21 concerning black women of all people. When that phrase was popular in America, it was overt Jim Crow. Huh? But Mr. Z uses that term and that phrase concerning black women because Miss Foster expressed to you that black women shouldn't go down the Brittany Renner route as they realize that their loneliness is kicking them in the rear end and the things that they did wrong. And when they take accountability, and I want to stress that, notice she had a real issue with that accountability word. Miss Foster is saying, no, you don't take a step back and consider that maybe the men had a point. And you definitely don't say that out loud, and definitely don't say that in public, and even more definitely, how often you gonna say that, Z? Do not say it on social media. The internet is forever. Miss Foster is saying to Brittany Renner and to any other woman that will cross that line, don't take a step back. Double down. Go to Amber Rose route. She didn't have to say it in those literal words, but that was the sentiment that was expressed.
Because getting a man is not hard. Can we? Truly. Okay, no matter what happens with my relationship status, getting a man is not an accomplishment in 2023. And it also pisses me off. And this is why, like, Brittany is really fucking setting the free 30-something women the fuck back, okay? You're embarrassing us. Okay? And this is why I will always respect Amber Rose. Because to this day, Amber Rose is like, I'll take your fucking shit. I don't give a fuck. I do what I want to do. Sometimes it's a little cringy, but I'm going to stand on my shit. I'm going to own it. I love this. Whatever. She never switched up. Brittany's doing exactly. She's doing exactly what the manosphere niggas talk about. Okay? Which is, you have a bad experience with a wealthy, high-profile person. You have a baby. You get dragged through the mud. And then you realize you're in your early 30s. This is their narrative. Their narrative is then you have a baby, you get dragged through the mud, and then you realize, oh, the clock is ticking. And so now you have to completely rebrand into a loud and proud pick me and scold other women about what they're not doing to get them in. That is exactly what they say. Why would stop embarrassing us. Stop embarrassing us. As a single 33-year-old woman, stop it, okay? I hope she at least, gets man she desires. I hope she gets some, good, faithful dick to swoop in or whatever, pay her car note or whatever.
Huh? Of course you're gonna get on a man's program, a black man's program. Of course you're gonna consider what they're thinking and what they're saying because you're broke. I hope you do get a man that's gonna swoop in and pay whatever car note. Yeah. Because only the struggle, financial struggle, that's the only reason. That's why Mr. Z also plays the clips of women who are doing okay financially, who are also telling you, yeah, that loneliness still hurts though.
Because growing up, I was taught you need to be able to take care of yourself. You shouldn't depend on anybody. You definitely don't depend on a man. In my mid-30s, I hate living by myself. I hate it. I hate it.
Huh? That young lady is doing okay-ish enough. She said in her mid-30s, she hates it. In their mid-30s, in their early 30s, in their late 30s, all them that were toughing it out, they did a decade plus of adulthood. And they're looking around like, okay, I'm making okay-ish money, but Okay, look, I may or may not have been on the carousel, but this is it. This is Miss Foster. This is what you telling me to get comfortable with? This is what I'm holding the line for? Okay, I'm not financially struggling. I'm able to afford my life, but this is it? Girls trips and huh? That's it? Empowerment brunches? That's it? I'm supposed to get used to this?
Personally, I am done with all women-centered events in 2025. The women empowerment brunches, lunches, the ladies' nights, I'm just gonna take a pause. Like, I need enough. I have my sisterhood. Of course, I'm open to making new friends, but there's other ways to do that and to spend my money. Like, where's the...
Huh? She's tired of the empowerment brunches, Miss Foster. She's tired of saving face for women like you. She's tired of holding the line. Mr. Zika played the clips of women, black women who are financially struggling, and that's why they reconsidering all that feminist crap. And I could play the clips of black women who at least are doing okay-ish financially. And the loneliness and the horniness, no? And the lack of companionship. It's what's kicking them in the rear end. Both types of women are telling you, wait, I gotta keep on saving face? I gotta keep on holding the line for your gender war? Once again, to Mr. Z's title, holding the feminist line seems lonely and expensive. Huh? Ah. Irrelevance is after the Danish deception, I don't want to hear anything about money. Man, look, Chrissy already put out, as every time this happens, she gonna turn around and put out one of these damage control, huh? Narrative shaping ass narratives. So Chrissy already did it. Mr. Z already downloaded it. We'll maybe review it. If not tonight, tomorrow. We'll try to get to it. It's in the docket. By the way, Chief Rock, I did not forget about you. Yeah. Ben, I did download the clip of the I think that's a beetle, right? Huh? Ah. And Els, I read your other comment. I was meaning to highlight it. Els says you went to an empowerment brunch and still have the nerve to call us Negroes. Back to the elements. Back to the elements, Yitch. Right? Ah, yeah. And Cam S says, and I gotta read y'all the rest of y'all super chats. And Cam S says, nah, F that. I have friends that a professor in academia in the soft sciences, they have access to all the stats. So, okay, I read that wrong then. I have friends that are professors, I get what you're saying, in academia, in the soft sciences. They have access to all the stats and data we have. Hashtag them hoes lying. Cam S said, nah, Z, nah, F that, Z. It's not that they don't know, they do know. Okay, then they have a political agenda. And they're watching, as Mr. Z said before, they're watching the ladies suffer. They're just trying to tell them to suffer in silence. This is where that therapy talk comes in. Coping. They're demanding that the ladies learn to cope. It's not about solving the issue. Solving the issue would be getting them a man and making sure they're on that man's program. Black man program. No, y'all sell them on therapy talk. Translation, coping talk. Ginny Mai just entered the room. Huh? Tia Mari just entered the room. Tracy Ellis Ross just entered the room. Huh? Yeah. Therapy talk. So yeah, KMS, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. KMS said, "No, f that. They know they lying." Rest in peace, Shorty Low. Huh? They're lying, Z. Well, and thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And let me make sure. I'm gonna try to make sure I don't miss any of y'all. Oh, let me read this. And Gavin says, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Gavin says, "Hey Z, when you get a chance, I sent you like 6 videos of women saying to stop telling them to be happy single. Thank you. We will be doing it. Don't worry, Mister. This is a whole series. Huh? This is a whole series. This is video what, 2 or 3? We got a whole series going of this. What it costs to hold the line type talk. I'm gonna make a playlist out of this. So I'll compile them and we'll review them. Huh? This is going to be a whole series because if this is where we are and it's make or break time, especially with technology, appreciate the technology we have now and what I foresee us having in the future. Human beings are not going to be relying on each other pretty much at all in the future. Not on that level. It's make or break. Either you create a culture where, regardless of the technology allowing us to be these quote unquote individuals, either you create a culture where black men and black women still couple up, or we watch black men increasingly, especially for the black men that can afford it, clearly, passport bros, SYSBM, monk mode, and you watch black women get relegated to the concubine class even more than they already are. The concubine class and the co-munching coven. Somewhere somebody saying, Z, that sounds like what's going on now. I hear you. Yeah. So yeah, Gavin, don't worry about it. I'll get to him. Thank you for the email. Right. Thank you for the email. And let me read. Oh yeah, and Gavin sent me a super sticker earlier. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for the super chat. And Why Skinner Man says, shout out to Mr. Z and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. So we have to stress that. I definitely wanted to play these clips today, right? To emphasize you're going to see the split. Miss Foster is good financially, and she's Ivy League educated. She can, let's say her YouTube career just went to crap. If she wanted to, she more than likely could pull a few strings and get somewhere in some NGO somewhere and still be earning 6 figures. Disappear, get married to Buddy Rome, do a whole 360. Get married to the dude, have kids in wedlock, right? And Homer Simpson, moonwalk into the hedge and disappear. And the masses of her subscribers and her followers who are on this type of time, what are they supposed to do? Well, hold the line. Hold the line and be lonely and broke. Because Miss Foster has options and choices. The masses of black women have black men or poverty. They have black men or the carousel. Huh? They have black men or the interracial carousel. They have black men or poverty. They have black men or the co-munching coven. And L's Active says, and thank you for the super chat. That was the comment I was trying to read earlier. And L's Active says, and thank you for the super chat. Once again, like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. L says, all these women talk about wanting a relationship for what it could do for them, not what they can do for it. Back to the elements you go. And I got the little clip for you. Where is it? Where is it? Out in the elements, bro. They out in the elements. Go leave them in the elements. Huh? In the cold. Huh? We know. How did everybody think this was gonna go? I've said this before. It's this idea of like status quoism and a weird perverse idea of progress. Mr. Z is not anti-progress, but is it truly progress? Like, you get to be hyper individualistic, you get to give men the middle finger, and then somehow society, through taxes and some type of weird perverse idea of male obligation to women that these men are not with individually, will backstop your hyper individuality. When Mr. Z says freedom ain't free, like the US military says, your freedom is not free, I'm not just saying it to say it. Society has to backstop your weird idea of individuality. Your individuality comes at a cost. And the men are saying, black men in particular, are saying, okay, you're being antagonistic, you're being mean-spirited, you're sassy, you're smug, and you don't want to have children. And we're going to tax the men more than the women so that you can be a hyper-individualistic, non-reproducing woman looking down on the masses of men, and we're supposed to backstop that with our bodies, with our labor, with our tax dollars, because you exist for your idea of hyper individuality. Yeah, about that. Huh? And as L's Active said, back to the elements you go. Yeah, back to the elements you go. Exactly, Trill. And to the great Black Uru, as he says, somebody got to pay for these hoes. Yeah. Not Earth, Wind, and Fire. And Indigo says, in the earth, wind, and fire. To the elements you go, lady. To the elements you go. Compassionate says, concubine class, co-munching coven is a bar. Look, every once in a while, I'll come up with one. Huh? Every once in a while, I'll come up with a bar. Right? But I definitely had to play for y'all so y'all could see why the women sound so goddamn conflicted. Why they sound schizophrenic. Huh? And L's Active also says, and thank you for the super chat, stop all that crying and cope harder. Kim Foster. Exactly. Exactly. That is what she's saying. So while we have women talking like this.
Because personally speaking, I've also been single for a long time. And in the beginning, it was like, oh, this is so much fun. You're at peace and I love it and I can do whatever I want. I only have to focus on myself and blah, 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 blah. That shit's old real quick.
Huh? While we have women talking like that, Miss Foster, well, she sounds like this.
Because getting a man is not hard. Can we? Truly. Okay, no matter what happens with my relationship status, getting a man is not an accomplishment. In 2023, and it also pisses me off. And this is why, like, Brittany is really fucking setting the free 30-something women the fuck back, okay? You're embarrassing us. Okay? And this is why I will always respect Amber Rose. Because to this day, Amber Rose is like, I'll take your fucking shit. I don't give a fuck. I do what I want to do. Sometimes it's a little cringy, but I'm going to stand on my shit. I'm going to own it. I love this. Whatever. She never switched up. Brittany's doing exactly She's doing exactly what the manosphere niggas talk about, okay? Which is, you have a bad experience with a wealthy, high-profile person, you have a baby, you get dragged through the mud, and then you realize you're in your early 30s. This is their narrative. Their narrative is then you have a baby, you get dragged through the mud, and then you realize, oh, the clock is ticking. And so now you have to completely rebrand into a loud and proud pick me and scold other women about what they're not doing to get the men. That is exactly what they say. Why would stop embarrassing us? Stop embarrassing us. As a single 33-year-old woman, stop it, okay? I hope she at least, gets man she desires. I hope she gets some, good, faithful dick to swoop in or whatever, pay her car note or whatever.
Once again, to L's active super chat, stop all that crying and cope harder. Kim Foster. Right? You said Kim Tosser, by the way. That's hysterical. That's funny, by the way. There's a pun in there. There's definitely a pun in there. Huh? The thing is, Miss Foster doesn't engage in that life. Huh? But you damn right. She is saying that to the ladies. Meanwhile, the masses of black women around her age, maybe a bit younger, they can't do it anymore.
Okay, I have one more thought that I have to get up as the sun is rising. Okay. Sometimes we lie to ourselves. And I've been doing that for quite some time now. And I am 32 this year. And it's almost the end of the year, so I'll be 33. And I'm just not about to go into 33 lying. So I'm going to be one of the first hard up type of women to admit that I want a man. I may actually need a man. That feels so disempowering sometimes to say in 2025. And people make you feel like, oh, you're weak. It's like, fuck it. I want a man. I don't necessarily... Yes.
Huh? So now y'all appreciate why she's considering this disempowering. And she said, and people make you feel like you're weak. It's not people. It's women, in this case, black women, even more specifically, black women like Miss Foster. That's why I play that clip, to put into context why y'all hear these women who you can see loneliness is kicking them in the rear end, but they sound conflicted. And who the hell they're talking to when they say, stop telling me to mask my desires? Who are they talking to? They're talking to Miss Foster and her ilk. Who is this young lady talking to when she says, stop telling me to mask my desires?
Oh, another night going home alone. This single life is ass. And don't get under my post talk about some. Just focus on yourself. Love yourself. Date yourself. I don't want to hear that shit. I really don't. I'm tired of it. Stop trying to tell me to mask my desires for being with someone else, that I should just be with myself. I've been with myself. I'm always going to be with myself. Like, it's me and her to the end of time. Like, stop it. Like, after.
Huh? Stop telling me to mask my desires. Who is she talking to? She's talking to the Kim Fosters. The white ones, the black ones, the Latina ones, the Asian ones. But obviously, specifically, the black ones. Miss Foster. Huh? Holding the feminist line seems lonely and expensive because it is lonely and expensive. Huh? Because Miss Foster is telling women like that, you're embarrassing us. You're proving the manosphere Negroes right. Us free 30-something-year-olds, we got to hold the line. We got to save face. Whether we're in a relationship or not, you got to save face all the time. Even when you're considering sexy time. Even when you're considering sexy time, even when you're considering boredom, you have to hold the line all the time.
Would you live on a planet with all women?
With all women?
Yeah.
Ooh. You wouldn't? That's my dream. Think about how...
I mean...
Think of the structure.
Can men come in once a month?
Nah, it's just
a
all
planet
women.
with
We
all
don't get
women.
like we don't get like travel pass.
Nah.
Okay. I mean, I really would.
Okay.
I really would. It would be nice.
So like never, like not a single man.
Not a single man.
It would be nice. We would have great shopping, great homes, healthcare, like all the things.
And we'd be bored.
But happy. It's fine.
So you taking it?
I'm taking it. I'm going.
Okay.
I'm going.
Okay. Saw guys on the fence.
I'm going. I'm going.
I kind of convinced myself.
I'm going.
A little bit.
I'm going.
Huh? This is the war. Shout out to KMS. LOL. War. This is the war. Let the Civil War commence. It's going to be an uphill battle for the black women that are not on this type of time. For the black women that don't sound like this, that don't want black men to protect, provide, and shut up. It's going to be an uphill battle for you.
I miss when men used to protect, provide, and shut up.
Huh? For the black women that aren't on some, no, we just want something that's equal and that's egalitarian, but really what you mean is protect, provide, and shut up. And that's what's equitable. That's what's egalitarian. For the women that don't sound like this, but what they really mean, they're saying equality, they're saying egalitarian, but what they really mean is,
what if black women were supposed to be the leaders and black men are just supposed to protect with their muscles and use their listening ears and carry out instructions?
Huh? Yeah. Yeah, it gotta be a war. You damn right. And the Split Gym says, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. A Split Gym says, surely that says mask my desires. Sound like she is mocking Kim, doesn't it? Huh? Let's play those back to back, doesn't it?
Because getting a man is not hard. Can we? Truly. Okay, no matter what happens with my relationship status, getting a man is not an accomplishment in 2023. And it also pisses me off. And this is why, like, Brittany is really, really fucking setting the free 30-something women the fuck back, okay? You're embarrassing us. Okay? And this is why I will always respect Amber Rose. Because to this day, Amber Rose is like, I'll take your fucking shit. I don't give a fuck. I do what I want to do. Sometimes it's a little cringy, but I'm going to stand on my shit. I'm going to own it. I love this. Whatever. She never switched up. Brittany's doing exactly. She's doing exactly what the manosphere niggas talk about, okay? Which is, you have a bad experience with a wealthy, high-profile person, you have a baby, you get dragged through the mud, and then you realize you're in your early 30s. This is their narrative. Their narrative is then you have a baby, you get dragged through the mud, and then you realize, oh, the clock is ticking, and so now you have to completely rebrand into a loud and proud pick me and scold other women about what they're not doing to get the men. That is exactly what they say. Why would stop embarrassing us? Stop embarrassing us. As a single 33-year-old woman, stop it, okay? You know, I hope she at least, gets man she desires. I hope she gets some, good, faithful dick to swoop in or whatever, pay her car note or whatever.
As a Split Gym says, shorty that says, mask my desires sound like she is mocking Kim, and she's not the only one. Continuing.
Oh, another night going home alone. This single life is ass. And don't get under my post talk about some. Just focus on yourself. Love yourself. Date yourself. I don't want to hear that shit. I really don't. I'm tired of it. Stop trying to tell me to mask my desires for being with someone else, that I should just be with myself. I've been with myself. I'm always going to be with myself. Like, it's me and her to the end of time. Like, stop it. Like, after a long day of work, I just be wanting to lay down. I want to cuddle. I want to tell my man about my day. I just want a hug. Like, damn. Like, it don't even be about all the other stuff y'all be talking about. It just be the simple things that you miss the most. Like that's really it. Like, it's not even like, it just be the simple things. That's all I'm going to say. So just be grateful if you got somebody and you got a hug today. Because you know what? I don't need no man.
And she's not the only one.
You know what I'm getting real sick and tired of? Being single. And I get it. It's going to be some people in the comments talking about, you don't need a man to validate you. You should be by yourself. You should use this time to work on you. Child, fuck you. Fuck you. I'm sick and I'm tired and I'm tired and I'm sick of being single. I'm trying to come home to somebody every night. I'm trying to get my booty rubbed on. I'm trying to put on a cute dress and some heels and go out to dinner. I'm trying to get a bill or two paid. Like, I don't need a companion, somebody to talk to. I don't give a fuck about no validation.
Yep. Huh? And even the young ladies, I think Life with Bree was early 20s, 23, 24 years old when she was out here tearing up because she was looking, wait a minute, you telling me this might be my future forever, the single? Like, I'm good. I'm good with my girlfriends and my family, and I'm leaning on my community and network, but I'm going to be single? You're going to tell me to make up for the lack of romantic love with platonic love? She's looking at the Kim Fosters like, wait, what?
Whatever reason, I'm just not allowed to experience love from another person. And yes, although, you know, I don't have that, there are other areas of my life that are flourishing, you know, like my YouTube channel and friendships, and it's giving me opportunity to pour into those friendships and pour into myself, which I think are equally as important. But I think people tend to forget that platonic love doesn't replace romantic love. And so as much as I am fulfilled by, you know, my friendships and, you know, relationships with my family and things like that, it still doesn't replace that desire that I have deep down for something more. And it's hard. It's a hard thing to suppress. It's a hard thing to put on the back burner, and not knowing how long I'm gonna be in this season scares me a little bit. And it also scares me to know that it may not ever happen. That it may not ever happen. And so it's just like, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm making much sense in this video.
Yep. That's because the Miss Fosters of the world are telling them to hold the line. Mr. Z saying, hey, look, holding the line seems real lonely and expensive. It looked like it cost y'all to hold the line. So be it. And Else Active says, they all sound like they're responding to Kim. Not specifically, right? It's the order I'm playing them in, especially, you know, playing them after Miss Foster. But that's because that's the prevailing ideology. All the ladies sound like they're responding to her, but they're not responding particularly to her. They're responding to all the women, namely Black women, that don't want other Black women to show those moments of weakness, those moments in their mind of weakness, those moments of loneliness when they're the most vulnerable. They don't want them to sound vulnerable, lonely, and be honest about what this gender war cost them. They want them to speak like everything's good. The men are the problem. I'm good. I'm good financially. I'm good with romance. Right? The men are the one who care about sex like that. I'm good. Intimacy. The men think sex and intimacy are synonymous. That's how you're supposed to conduct yourself. That's how you're supposed to speak. So, yeah, it sounds like they're all responding to Miss Foster, but not necessarily. It's because this is the prevailing talk. With the way Miss Foster is speaking, the way Kim Foster is speaking, that it's not just her who's talking like that, huh? It's not just her. Chrissy's talking like that. Real Talk with Yanny talking like that.
This is what I tell average looking and below average looking women. If you can't date up, be alone. Life is easier that way. And I know that's controversial. I don't care. I don't care.
Huh? A bunch of them sound like that.
Decenter men. This is not coming from a place of hurt, trauma. This is coming from a place of peace and happiness. And I just remember when I used to go out, and I used to just go out just to have a good time, laugh, great conversations, and just being a personality. My personality wasn't about getting a man. It was just about having fun. And I just want to get back to that. I just want to get back to me. And I'm tired of social media. I'm wanting to decenter men, decenter social media. And I just want to just be about me. I want to be selfish and self-centered as an ex-people pleaser, because everything nowadays is about getting a man, keeping a man, having a man's baby. And it's just too much. And I'm just getting nauseous. Just thinking about it. There has to be more to life than just men. And so now that I have these centered men for my life, I find myself actually having a good time. I go out in social settings. The objective isn't to get numbers, to get a man, to get a date. It's just to have great conversation. And I've been enjoying myself. I have. You know, I'm flirting. I'm having amazing conversations, meeting new people. And I'm just keeping it at that. And I like that. I feel in control. And I like how I have this I don't give a fuck attitude. And it's just very freeing. Whereas before, it was all about getting a man and hanging around women that wanted to go out just to get attention and to get a man. And it's just so exhausting. But now I actually go out. I'm actually having a great time. And
who believes that fake ass smile?
I love it here, actually. I'm just tired of these videos. It's a man, it's a woman telling you, get a man, you need a man. You're gonna die alone. And I like being alone. I like it. I like it's peaceful. And this decentering men thing, I think it's necessary because a lot of women are exposing themselves to like temporary relationships just because they're listening to people online. And I don't know, I think it's kind of cute. I think it's funny because I'm a woman that actually enjoys being alone, right? I enjoy my aloneness. I think it's funny because some women feel like they're one-upping you because they have a temporary relationship. And I'm like, but your relationship is temporary. Even the women with rings, your marriage is temporary. Like, it's not lasting. It didn't last. A lot of women are in situationships, temporary relationships, friends with benefits, temporary relationships. They're just in these temporary relationships because social media is telling them that they need a man, or they should get a man, or hurry up, girl, better get your man before you hit the wall. It's like, it's just too much. And now I have moved to a space where I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. And it feels so good because I just don't give a fuck. And nobody is going to force me to give a fuck. And I like it. And another thing, when it comes to this decentering men, I have embraced my masculine. I've embraced my feminine side. I've embraced my light feminine. I've embraced my dark feminine. I've embraced all of myself. And I love that for me.
Huh? Y'all don't see that as the temper tantrum that it is? So, once again, it's not specifically responding. These women aren't specifically responding to Miss Foster. This is still the dominant ethos among women across the board, not just black women. Now, it's costing them their sanity. Huh? But they get to hide behind the talking heads and the pundits, and the journalists with the loneliness epidemic in the men, and the men are becoming dangerous, and the red pill content and the manosphere content and how sexist they sound. And the women get to hide behind that, particularly young women, particularly women under the age of like 50, but definitely the women under the age of 30, or they get to hide behind that. The women under the age of 40, they get to hide behind Joe Scarborough and all the Mika Brzezinski and all these journalists and authors and pundits, social commentators. Oh, the loneliness epidemic, and the men are so dangerous, and the men are consuming so much of this sexist content online. Meanwhile, the women are shattering under the loneliness. But we can't let the men know that. So the ladies get to hide behind, as Vegas Dev says, cope word salad. Yeah. Ah, let me read this. Oh yeah, and Demetrius says the divestor account on Twitter were based in East Asia, yeah, East and South Asia, yeah. And let me you because you asked that question, and yes, I did. I am following, and he says, Z, did you see the new Twitter update locations exposed? Yeah, I saw all that stuff. A bunch of the MAGA stuff was coming from Eastern Europe and all over the place, all over the world. What else? The like you said, some of the divester content was coming from Nigeria, coming from East and South Asia, coming from a bunch of places around the world. Yeah, I saw that. But here's the thing, Mr. Z. I think we said that before. We made mention of this before. That's why if y'all notice, I started pivoting to years ago. Well, not even the beginning of this year when I played the video clips. And even with that, I'm gonna have to be extra careful now to make sure it's not AI. Thank God I didn't fall for that whole you got to take care of me and my kids, because by the way, if y'all don't know, that clip was a AI clip. Is the government's responsibility to take care of me and my kids, or she said society or something like that? That was an AI clip, everyone. Thank God I didn't fall for that. That's why I didn't review it. Appreciate this. Yes, we're black men, we're not black women. We have to be even more vigilant than them to not be moonwalked into or slow walked into anti-black sentiments, because you know the racist white dudes, both in America and out, on all of the anti-black folks around the planet, you better believe they're going to be creating these videos to throw gasoline on the flame of the gender war in the black community. You better believe it. But yeah, Demetrius, I saw a bunch of those divester stuff, but that also speaks to how much non-black people appreciate what's going on in the black community. And as a matter of fact, I said this a couple months ago, or was it it was over a month ago at least, where I said, ladies, it's going to be difficult for y'all to prove that this stuff is all fake and all AI, because y'all do, and y'all definitely did sound like this. All that neo-Nazi talk, like Cynthia G is a real person. So yeah, it might be some South Asian racist who's being chipped off a few dollars by whoever the hell to create this type of content, these comments on Twitter. But it's not too far-fetched from the way y'all actually have been speaking. It makes it real difficult. See, if somebody jumps out there and try to imitate a black man and say, yeah, all black women need to be dumped in the sea or whatever the hell, we need to go slaughtering all black women. If a supposed black man jumps out the window like that, we could prove it's not a black man. We could definitely prove it's not a black manosphere content creator or commentator. We could prove that because we haven't spoken like that in the past. But ladies, can y'all prove that this is a troll account from not even in America but outside the country? Or can y'all prove it's a troll account from some edgelord white dude, 12-year-old edgelord white boy? And the premise being, hey, we've never said stuff like this before. How much more difficult is it going to be for y'all to say we've never said stuff like this before? Just saying. But yeah, Demetrius, also. And Demetrius, thank you for reminding everyone. And Demetrius says, you said it 2 years ago that other races watch black people. Once again, when we say quote unquote black Twitter, that doesn't mean you put your wrist up to some reader, some scanner, like, oh, your melanin content is this. Okay, you're now allowed to make comments in specifically black spaces on social media and on the internet. And then a white person or a Latino or an Asian puts it up and you're not allowed to make comments on black Twitter. That's not how this works. So of course, non-black people are reading the comments, they see what's going on in the black community, and they're able to capitalize off of the schism. Huh? They're able to capitalize off of the schism. And then y'all feed them red meat. When Barack Obama went up there and lectured black men to vote for Kamala Harris, it only proved everything that the dominant society believes about the power dynamic in the black community. When Whoopi Goldberg and Sonny Hostin go up there and speak about how the black community is a matriarchy, you're not saying anything that others didn't already know. Huh? It only proves that because people are paying attention.
Well, look, for me, it has never really been about black man or man. It's been about men. Mm-hmm. You know, there's this myth out there that black men can't handle being spoken to, you know, and told what to do by black women. Black men come from our bodies. Yeah. So black men have black mothers. So they're used to having these conversations with women.
The matriarchy is strong with the black
community. It is
community.
very strong.
Yeah.
Conversations with women.
The matriarchy is strong with the black
community. It is
community.
Very strong.
Yeah. The matriarchy is strong with the black
It is
community.
very strong.
Yeah.
Told you. I told you. I told you.
And shout out to Edward Anderson. Huh? Other people, other non-black people, other black people from the diaspora are paying attention. When y'all dance on Kevin Samuels' grave, what you thought it was only black men that were subscribed to Kevin Samuels? I mentioned it. Rollo Tomasi, at least he sounded like he was disgusted. He mentioned, hey, black women are out here dancing on Kevin Samuels' grave. Donovan Sharp mentioned it. We know that Donovan Sharp doesn't have exclusively black subscribers and viewers. Huh? Fresh and Fit. As a matter of fact, Rollo Tomasi called it to Fresh and Fit and mentioned it. Fresh and Fit only got black subscribers and viewers. Black women, y'all are doing yourself a disservice. When Kobe Bryant passed away and black women were dancing on his grave because he wasn't married to a black woman. White people saw those comments, ladies. Huh? Ah. And Two Watchful says, and I gotta end out, can I get an amen and a B selection tax? Look, A and B selection tax. First, amen. But let me end out because I got reckless. We got things to do. We'll end out with this. Holding the feminist line is expensive and it's lonely. Miss Foster, at least from what we could see, last time we checked, is in a relationship, looks loving, looks promising. Shout out to her. The masses of black women who are on the same type of thing that Miss Foster is on, they don't earn the type of money she earns. They're not connected the way she is. They're not Ivy League graduates, and so on and so on. This is going to cost them. This type of antagonistic rhetoric, particularly directed towards black men, is going to cost them.
It'll cost you.
It may cost you little. It may cost you a lot. But it will cost you.
And that it will. So on that note, y'all, we will pause right here. Right? Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, for the love of God. Leon says Z ain't in the stream. No, I got to. We got things to do. Reckless. So y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content. In case y'all don't hear from Z tomorrow, y'all know what Mr. Z gonna say. Happy Native American Slaughter Day. Damn, Z. Look, Z, you had to remind us. Anyway, y'all know what it is. Happy Native American Slaughter Day. And y'all enjoy y'all turkey on these European neo-colonial settler state lie and take the land and slaughter the brown folks, the red folks day. So y'all enjoy y'all turkey on that day, right? All right, y'all. So we'll end right there. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Mr. Z out. I'll see y'all comments. I'll see y'all comments. Mr. Z out.
You are now listening to Mr. Z Blackneffect.